to a Toast to Truth, where I share the emotional, mental, and financial frustrations of being an entrepreneur. This is Season 6, Episode 1, Doing Business After Harvey. Today's question is, will your business survive a natural disaster? I want to introduce, before I get into today's topic, I want to introduce the theme for Season 6. I really had to think about this because it felt like I've talked about everything I needed to talk about in the previous 5 seasons. And if you haven't listened to those episodes, please go back and listen to them. They are chock full of resources, information, aha moments, and lessons that you can definitely utilize and learn from. But with Season 6, new changes are happening, not just in my personal life, but professionally as well. And I wanted to dive deep into these changes. I wanted to dive into the deeper pool of entrepreneurship in the sense where you really learn a little bit about the emotional and the mental and the financial frustrations that people deal with. Now, I've talked about those in the past, but I felt that they were still somewhat in the shallow end, even though some of them were hilarious and, very sensitive topics. However, I feel that as someone who has been on this entrepreneurial journey for 6 years now, that I have definitely learned some things. And, right before I started recording this particular episode, I was personally attacked by a friend, and this friend personally attacked my business. And so it's things like that people really talk about, but they don't talk about. Like, they mention it, but they don't really talk about how it made them feel, or if what that person said made them make a really bad decision in business and they lost money from it. Those are things that we need to take into consideration. So I spoke with the therapist that I've known for years that, I mentioned before that I've spoken with, who really helped me get out of my deep, dark funk depression. And so she saw what I posted on Facebook and we talked. And, I got some things out, but I did want to mention this particular situation because this is something that people deal with on a daily basis, and they're not exactly sure how to deal with it. So I deleted my Facebook post, because that's what she suggested. And after we talked, it made sense. I'm moving into a new realm of business. And so that means things are going to be said and done towards me, and I can't take it personal. I have to know that sometimes you are just attacked because of the place you are going to, not where you currently are. So that got me to thinking, especially how it relates to this topic, doing business after Harvey or any natural disaster. So before we hop into the topic, I want to talk about this theme that I created and what you can expect this season. Now, unlike most past seasons, I did not record the entire season at once. And I did that for a couple of reasons. Number one, right now things are shifting and changing and moving into an awesome, amazing space as far as the Truth Confidant and the Houston African American Bloggers Association. So I want to take time to really see how things are playing out and share that in this season of the podcast. The second reason, I'm so busy because of things changing that I really do not have the 2 to 3 days that I normally take to record all the episodes, get all the show notes, get all the graphics done. I just didn't have time. And so we're just going to take it week by week and see how that goes. So let's talk about the theme for Season 6. Karma and destiny. I think that kind of plays into the situation that I opened us up with. Now, I'm a teacher, so I'm going to give some definitions, some meanings, some explanations, and take you through why karma and destiny is the theme, not are, but is the theme for season 6. Karma is the sum of a person's actions in this and previous states of existence, according to Buddhism and Hinduism. Destiny is the events that will necessarily happen to a particular person in the future. The number 6 has many meanings such as balance, harmony, and earthly matters. This being the 6th season, I needed to do a little research on the theme that made the most sense. This is also my 6th year working for myself too. I was telling my biz bestie, you all heard her in season 1, Vanessa, I needed to make a decision between HAAB, which is the Houston African American Bloggers Association, and the Truth Confidant. When I researched 6, harmony and balance stuck out. I need to find a balance between the two as I am destined to do both. Owning my peace is why I can keep the harmony between running both entities. I was watching this Hinduism drama, and it was about this 14-year-old queen of Jhansi. And Netflix only had like the first 70 episodes, and it's like 520 episodes in the whole series. Anyway, but the main character said, and I'm paraphrasing because, it was subtitles and there was no way I can go back and find exactly what she said. She told her husband, the king of Jhansi, how can I choose between destiny, what she's expected to do, and my karma, what she's called to do? That really stuck with me. HAAB feels like my destiny. It's like what I'm expected to do based on all of my experience, all of my education, things that I've worked towards. And the Truth Confidant feels like my karma. Personal things that have happened to me learning about those personal things, me learning how to separate the personal things that have happened and able to teach and share with other people how to go from stress to peace. So in this season, I'm going to dive into both entities. I haven't really talked too much about HAAB on this podcast as, building it, I didn't really know what I was doing, but 3 years are in the book, November 2017, 3 years are in the book with this entity. So I do have a little bit of knowledge on building this. Also, there is no other blog association like this. Like if you have a speakers association, a plumbers association, why can't we have a bloggers association? So I really feel that my destiny is building HAAB because at the end of the day, bloggers need to get paid, especially Black bloggers. But the Truth Confidant is definitely my karma. All of the things I've gone through, me asking God, why me, why me? I feel that because I am a strong person, especially after talking to my, my counselor, my therapist, after speaking with her and she reiterating that I am strong, even though there may be moments where I cry or want to cry or curl up in a ball, that I can still press through a situation unlike a lot of other people. So I feel my personal experiences, both professional and personal, were created so that my karma is to show other people how to go from stress to peace. Now, I was going to talk about other things this season, but Harvey kind of totally threw that off. That's why we're starting episode 1 with doing business after Harvey. My perspectives have shifted. Decisions have had to be made. So season 6 is all about my karma and destiny in business. So before I get to doing business after Harvey, I want to talk a little bit about, my karma and my destiny in business. And then I want you to think about what your karma and destiny is in business, because not always will your karma and destiny be something that you have to make money from or that you would want to make money from. Everything that we are passionate about, that we're interested in, that we like, or that we say is our purpose, does not have to be monetized. We don't have to monetize every single thing we do in our life. There should be some things that we just want to do because it is something we enjoy. I've enjoyed HAAB. I've enjoyed building this entity. For 3 years, have not paid myself, have used every contact I have used every resource I have used everything I could to get this off the ground. And recently, the meetings that we have been taking with the association, those people have pulled me to the side and flat out said, we will help you grow this. Just call and let us know what you need. So for 3 years, as the co-organizer, and I have been building this foundation, and I felt that it wasn't going anywhere, that it was just like we kept going, and we weren't really seeing much. Now, she's a little bit more, positive than I am. I'm like, I need to see results. She's like, they're going to come. But it was because we needed to build a solid foundation. You cannot build something sustainable when there are gaps in the foundation. And what we have done the last 3 years is really build a strong foundation. We have a strong leadership team now. The association has the structure and the framework that it needs to sustain itself. We still have just a couple of more pieces that we're working on that will be done so that 2018 will be, selling through very, very easy for us to kind of grow in areas that we need to grow. But the karma of us working for these 3 years is definitely paying off, with the sheer fact that the people who understand, or even people who worked with me 2 years ago, were like, I want to work with your organization because I know you're professional, I know you'll get it done, and this will be a great opportunity for you. So taking these meetings, and when I say taking these meetings, that means we're meeting these people face to face. I'm doing conference calls first, then we're meeting face to face. So this is not just going back and forth in email. Like, we really need to go back to a few old school techniques in business. We can't do everything in email. Trust me, I'm an introvert. I would love to do everything in email, but it's just not possible to grow a business the way that you would want to grow a business if you do not actually meet people face to face. Sometimes you have to meet people face to face. And I so wanted to say that in Spanish, but I caught myself. The purpose of ESL, you get used to hearing other languages. Anyway, so the karma of us taking 3 years to build a solid foundation, the fruit of that labor is starting to sprout. I'm not saying we're harvesting just yet, but the fruit is starting to show. And this is definitely something that I would say I needed at this moment, because I was getting tired. And I was talking to my therapist, and I was telling her that, I wanted to quit. I wanted to give up. I just wanted to walk away because I was getting tired. And she said, well, you can burn out easily. And I said, it's not burnout, because I can still do it if I'm tired. I was just tired of not seeing anything fall into place. And then I took the chance and I emailed like over 100 people. And so that itself opened up phone calls, meetings. It's opened up doors and opportunities that wouldn't have otherwise been there for the group. So I did it afraid. I mean, I even DM'd some pretty big companies on Twitter, and they gladly sent me their information. So I did it afraid. I said that twice because when you're doing business, you are going to be afraid most times, because no one likes rejection. No one likes to hear no. No one wants to feel that they've worked so hard and then other people are like, that's a stupid idea, or that's not going to work. Like, no one wants to have anyone poop on the idea that they're so proud that they created and they thought of and they worked on to make it happen. And then other people are like, no, it's not going to work. So my perspective has changed since Harvey. I realized that I was playing small, that I was trying to shrink myself and stay under the radar because for the past 2 years, I was going through a healing process. And as I was going through a healing process, I wanted to not have other people in my space and not have to deal with other people's questions or just period. I mean, let's be honest. Sometimes when you are going through things, you just don't want other people's mess in your face. So I stayed under the radar. Like in 2016, for a good part of the year, I literally was not even in Houston. Like, I literally was staying with my grandfather, away from everyone, in a rural part of Texas, just needed space to think, to breathe. And I was going through a healing process. I was still healing at that time. You fast forward to now, and Harvey kind of washed everything away. And it's time for us to start fresh. It's time for us to have a new reality. This is a perfect opportunity for you to set the tone, for you to do something, because most people aren't going to remember what you were doing before Harvey, because Harvey really touched a lot of people emotionally and mentally. So this is the perfect time for you to really come out and do things and really make a name for yourself, really make a splash. Because if you're anywhere in the affected areas of Harvey, people are really looking for something to celebrate, something to cheer for. That's why the Astros were a big deal. People need something positive. So if you are creating a business that is solving a problem, this is the perfect time for you. And even if you weren't affected by Hurricane Harvey, there's always going to be a natural disaster that happens. You're not going to go through your entire life and not be touched by a natural disaster. They're unexpected, they're unpredictable, and we cannot plan for them. I did a whole journaling series on that. We can't plan for them, but what we can do is look at the current situation and decide what we are going to do for tomorrow. We're looking at today. That is, the aftermath of the hurricane or whatever natural disaster that has touched you. And then we're looking at tomorrow. What do I want my tomorrow to look like? So that's what I'm going to talk about as far as what I want my tomorrow to look like. What I want my tomorrow to look like is a phenomenal, amazing, wonderful, exuberant, financially successful endeavor. I would use a lot more adjectives, but I think you get the point. I was playing small, and I think a lot of people play small because it's safe and it's easy. I was playing small because I was afraid of the responsibility that I know comes with moving your business into a bigger direction, taking on bigger clients, and working with key high-level people. Now, let's be honest. I know I'm not the only one who is afraid of responsibility. I've had responsibility since I was in elementary. I am the oldest child. I am the oldest grandchild. So if you are in a Black community and you are in a Black family and you are a Black woman and you are the oldest, you understand the responsibility that's placed on you, even if it's not directly said, this is your responsibility. You know that you were born with responsibility for others and to do certain things. So I've always had this responsibility, but to take on the responsibility, especially for HAAB, to ensure that all of these members and their families will be taken care of through what I need to do for this association, that was a lot of responsibility and it was scary. And so what I did for 2 years was just sit there and build the foundation. Now, it may have looked like, oh, she's not doing much, but actually what I was doing was making sure when the moment came, because I did not know when the moment was going to come. When the moment came, HAAB was ready for it. And we're ready for the moment because the moment is here. All of my past businesses, Women Are Game Changers, Fusion Tour, I knew they were never going to be successful, but I knew I needed to go through the process because that's how I learned. And the previous 5 seasons are those lessons that I learned building those businesses. Why did I feel that I needed to go through them? Karma and destiny. I needed those experiences because I needed to know what to do and what not to do when the correct business came and the moment I knew that business was ready to take off. I also needed to go through those experiences so that I have thicker skin and I'm able to really mentally and emotionally withstand personal attacks. So the previous businesses were my prep. They were preparing me. They were getting me ready. They were training me for the moment that I'm currently in now. Now, the Truth Confidant is not even a year old, but it's definitely something that I know is my karma. I know is something that will be very financially successful because once I narrowed it down, once I got things understood on what I needed to do, things fell into place. And you know when that happened? After Harvey. After Harvey is when I really understood what the Truth Confidant needed to be, where the Truth Confidant needs to go, what the Truth Confidant needs to do. That is something that we need to take the time and really ask ourselves. Because a lot of times we're just doing, oh, that's going to make me money, I'll do that. Oh, okay, you want to pay me, I'll do that. I've lived that in previous businesses. Yeah, you make money, but it's like you're always chasing your tail. You're not doing anything that is sustainable. You're like always having to hustle. And there's a great big difference between a hustler and an entrepreneur. Before, I could say I was a hustler. I knew how to make money. But now I definitely could say I'm an entrepreneur because now I know how to make money that's going to pay other people. That's the difference. I know how to build a business. That's the difference. I know how to get meetings with people who actually run multiple seven-figure budgets. That's running a business. That's not a hustler. I could not have these meetings that I'm having. I could not have the opportunities that are presenting themselves if I was still in the hustler mindset. That's a shift that needs to take place for a lot of people. That's the perspectives that needs to change. And that changed after Harvey. So after this break, I am going to talk now about doing business after Harvey. It's time to take a sip. Well, if you are anything like me, then you know that you have a favorite store that you really enjoy shopping at. And for me, that is Target. So I'm so excited to be a Target affiliate now. And in my journal entries, which is my newsletter, I share exclusive deals, offers, and special discounts that Target has. So you need to go to my site, BernettaRFraney.com, and sign up for the daily journal entries so that you can learn more about Target. Also, the Detox the BS journal is out. And if you have not made your purchase, go ahead and purchase the journal. Why? Because 2017, the end of 2017, is the perfect time to begin detoxing the BS in your life. 2018 is going to be ripe with opportunities for a lot of people. And those opportunities will not be available if we're not in the right emotional and mental frame of mind. So go ahead and go to VernettaRFraney.com. It's on the homepage, and click purchase so that you can get your Detox the BS journal. Okay, so I am back, and let's talk about doing business after Harvey. Now, I didn't want to spend the whole episode on doing business because there's so much going on right now in the city. People are talking about it, and then there's other places like the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico who were hit by 2 hurricanes. So everyone who's been touched by hurricanes, then we have the fires that have happened on the West Coast. So a lot of natural disaster has happened in the second half of 2017. How do you do business? Well, let's address some things that people don't like to talk about, but definitely need to be talked about. There are people who literally had to shutter their doors, close their business, not even a couple of weeks after Harvey. For whatever reason, they were not able to rebuild, to recover. One place in particular, this club that I went to in my 20s here in Houston, they were saying like after 10 years, they were having to close their doors. A lot of people my age were like, oh no, we used to go there all the time. See, keyword used to. So I don't know what their clientele is or was now, but they closed their doors. A lot of restaurants closed their doors. Businesses have had to close their doors. The only reason that I did not have to close my doors is because, number one, I had a good financial cushion. I made sure that, I had a little bit of money. I didn't know, Harvey was coming, but I really took the time this year to make sure my finances are in order, that they are together, and that things can be taken care of. So I had that cushion. A lot of people did not have that cushion. Another thing that we noticed after Harvey, a lot of people are doing a lot of sales and deals and, all of this. While that's all well and good, your business is not going to turn a profit, which means you're not going to be able to stay in business longer if you're constantly having to put things on 50%, 70% just to get people in the door. What you may have to do is tap into a different audience if your audience is still financially hurting from a natural disaster. You may have to market differently, market to new people, change what you're doing. But, constant deals is not the answer. It's not sustainable. And then people get so used to you doing it longer than 2 to 3 days that if you were to go back to your regular price, you have to ask yourself, will they actually pay the regular price? Or will they only buy from me when I'm giving a special, a discount, a deal? That is something I learned from previous businesses, that if you get people in the mindset of only buying when things are on sale, then that's a problem. Because now you're only looking for, then your audience, your customer base are now bargain shoppers. And you've become like a store where people are only in there to haggle about the prices. I did not want that for the Truth Confidant, and I definitely am not taking that for HAAB. There's no haggling. The price is the price, what I said. And it's set based on hours worked, based on, the materials that need to be done. Whatever the case may be, is not something I just pulled out of my behind and like, oh, I want to charge X amount of dollars because I want to, make a lot of money. It's based on things that I know you can afford, and based on the quality of work that you are looking for, that you are asking for, that you are wanting. Now, Harvey really kind of shook a lot of people up. I know people who shut down for a couple of weeks. They just mentally could not deal with what happened. I was actually in California at Podcast Movement, and I'm going to talk about Podcast Movement on another episode by itself. But I was in California, and I got to the airport and my flight was canceled. And so I'm a little upset because I'm like, why didn't you call me while I was still at the hotel so I didn't have to check out of the hotel, because I was in Anaheim and I flew into LAX. So I get there and they, were trying to figure out another place I can go. And I'm trying to think, who can I get to pick me up? So anyway, I fly in Dallas and a cousin and an aunt picks me up like at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm in Dallas staying at my cousin's place for a week because I couldn't get back in the city. And it was emotionally devastating for me being on the outside because I didn't know what was happening. And at the same time, I'm like, I have two businesses or entities that I'm running that still need to make money. So even though I wasn't in the city, I was emotionally affected by what was happening. But because I wasn't in the city, that allowed me to continue to run HAAB and the Truth Confidant. Now, in that case, I did get into a few, comments back and forth on Facebook because people didn't understand why I wasn't going to just shut down what I'm doing and only post Harvey. Well, guess what? That's not how a business works. A business is not shut down because other people feel it's insensitive. You don't like what I post? Unfriend me, unfollow me. Like, you followed me. It wasn't the other way around. But it gave me the opportunity to really sit down that week and say, okay, things are changing. HAAB is Houston based. Most of our clientele is in Houston. A lot of our clientele were impacted to the point where we lost contracts that we were going to close when I got back. That's how devastating Harvey was to us financially. That I had several businesses lined up that we were going to start doing business with in September. But Harvey hit and their finances were not going to be the same. And so thus those opportunities and agreements weren't going to be able to go through. So it was devastating. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get this association where it needs to be if we just lost 5 people who were going to pay us X amount of dollars? I had to rethink what HAAB was going to do, how HAAB was going to move forward. The same thing with the Truth Confidant. I realized then that the Truth Confidant was more important than ever because a lot of people were stressed, and that's the focus, going from stress to peace with the Truth Confidant. It actually made it easier for me to reach people with the Truth Confidant. So Harvey came and it had 2 different outcomes. One, loss of money, which meant I had to rethink a strategy. And the other, it opened up opportunity. So let's go to rethink the strategy for HAAB, and then we'll get to the opportunity for the Truth Confidant. And like I said, this season I'm talking about both because there are people who are interested in creating a blog association or an association similar to HAAB. And one thing I need people to understand is if you're unwilling to work, if you're unwilling to dedicate yourself to people who are not you, meaning if you are not going to put your neck on the line for other people to help other people grow their platform, then don't think about doing an association because it's not going to be valuable to you or to the members. You might as well just have a business and have them pay you to be in your network. Okay, so there's a difference between an association and a network. An association is there to make sure that the members get whatever your mission, your values, your goals are. So let's go to HAAB. We had to rethink the strategy. After the emotional shakeup of Harvey, it took a while for us to get back on track because there were some members who have lost things, who were affected. We couldn't meet with certain people because they just kind of shut down emotionally and they needed their space. So what had to happen, because the group had to continue, decisions needed to be made. And we made them. And we made them, and when I say we, I mean the leadership team. We made them in the best interest of people's emotional and financial capacity at that moment. So we finally met, the leadership team, and we started to rethink how we should move forward, at least through the end of the year. If nothing else, we said if we can get through the end of the year, we'll be okay. Because, we just needed to keep things going. We needed to keep things in a space of, we're not going to give up. We're not just going to have it fall apart. We came up with an event where PR and media were going to come. We said, okay, that could be something easy. We thought about it before, but it became more paramount after Harvey because of the business that we lost, because those particular clients could no longer afford to pay us because they were now financially devastated by Harvey. The event that we created that's actually going to be an annual event in November. That's when I had to think of how to maximize this particular event. And that's when I got to work, reaching out, doing things afraid, really kind of saying, okay, let me not be lazy, a procrastinator, and really put myself out there and get this done. That's how the opportunities have started to open up for HAAB, because we had to rethink a strategy because Harvey literally washed away what we had. Now, nothing against the people that we were going to work with, but like I said earlier, I was playing small, I was thinking small, and those were small contracts. What Harvey has done is washed away that mentality of playing small, because the opportunities that are presenting themselves now are on a larger scale. Like the growing pains of business. And you know what? That has to be an episode, because let me tell you, we all know about growing pains, but growing pains in business is a totally different, out of the world experience that you just kind of I can't explain it. It is just something that you don't expect, and you don't realize that there's such a thing as called growing pains in business. But anyway, so Harvey washed away the small thinking, and it allowed for the growth of larger, more profitable, more sustainable contracts, opportunities that will elevate HAAB into a different realm itself. The 3 years that we have been working to set the foundation, we were ready for those meetings. When we walked in, we were ready. We could answer questions. We had the stats. We had the information. There wasn't a reason for them to not want to work with us. To the point, one of the members was like, I think they were a little shocked that we came in so well prepared. We spent 3 years working for this moment. We were definitely prepared for those meetings. Those meetings, honestly, I don't think would have happened if Harvey didn't happen. I don't think I would have pushed myself to really get HAAB out there the way it is now if it wasn't for Harvey. So we sometimes have to think about natural disasters as something that is going to either push us to actually go where we're supposed to go in business, or, have us so afraid that we can't think of a way out that we just kind of let everything fall apart. And I'm not saying anything negative for people who have had to make that decision, because there was probably an issue with cash flow and profitability and revenue before Harvey. So Harvey just only magnified the situation. But for people who are like, can't think of a way to really get out of that situation, that makes me want to ask, are you really an entrepreneur? Because if a natural disaster is something that's going to stop you from doing something in business, then you're not prepared for other things that are going to take place. And trust me, there are a lot of other things that will take place that will knock the wind right out of you. So that's HAAB. We had to rethink our strategy. Now with the Truth Confidant and this balance is something that I'm probably it's going to be a daily thing for me. Before I get to the Truth Confidant, most people are like, oh, I have balance. My thing with balance is I feel balance is a priority. And what am I going to prioritize that day? To me, that's how I find balance. So am I prioritizing HAAB that day? Am I prioritizing me teaching ESL that day because I love teaching ESL? Am I prioritizing the Truth Confidant that day? For me, that's what I call balance. The harmony in that balance is knowing that I chose something and I'm doing it, and I don't care to try to look or appease or pretend that I'm doing something so that other people can applaud me. The harmony in the balance that I chose is knowing that I wake up, I made the decision, and I'm happy with the decision. So I can make sure that that decision is well executed for the day. So let's go to the Truth Confidant. The Truth Confidant, the opportunities grew because of Harvey. More people were impacted emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, physically from that. Now, I don't touch all 5 realms, but I did when I did the Healing After Harvey journaling series. So if you want to go through that series, it is in my Facebook group, The Truth Confidant with Bernetta R. Freeney, completely free journaling series to really help you get through things that you can't control. Okay, there's a lot we can't control, but you definitely cannot control a natural disaster. So that was one opportunity. I was able to create a journaling series that can be used for not just Harvey, but for any natural disaster. I can refer anyone to go through that 7-week journaling series and really kind of get through emotionally and mentally the situation that has impacted their life. Also, I was able to sell journals to people who wouldn't otherwise probably have bought one. But because of the added stress that Harvey has brought them, the journal was more appealing. The journal was something they feel could guide them to a more peaceful state of mind. In other words, Harvey has made it a little easier for my Detox the BS program to really gravitate, relate, connect with people. Now, I don't want to say that I'm trying to take advantage of the situation, but as an entrepreneur, you see the situation, you see what you do, and you see that this is the time, this is the opportunity, but you have to do it in a very tactful manner. I'm not going to, harp on people who I know are going through things just to make a buck. But I will make sure that what I am doing that I know will benefit them is strategically placed so that they see it and then they're wanting to buy it and then they buy it. So I saw the opportunity there, and I had to create a plan to capitalize on that opportunity, because that opportunity is not going to be there forever. The opportunity is there for a moment, and I need to make sure that I capitalize that moment. Now, the Truth Confidant is not even a year old, right? At the recording of this episode, it's not even a year old. So it's not like I've really set a strong foundation in my mind for this particular business. Like at this time, the business is like 10 months. I don't know. Y'all know I'm not, even though my mom was a math teacher, an accountant, Math is not my thing. Like, I literally have to use paper and pen to make sure numbers add up correctly. Anyway, the business, in my mind, doesn't have the foundation that I feel it should have, because that's is something that's going to take time. But I also saw the moment that Harvey presented itself for me, and I knew that based on past lessons and experiences that I've gone through, that I was going to be able to figure it out, that I was going to be able to make it work for now, and then I can fine tune it later. So done is better than perfect. In other words, for this particular situation, done is better than perfect. Literally, and let me explain, literally, I did not even finish the Detox to BS journal till after Harvey. After Harvey, after reading what people were saying online and watching people, I was able to change. Literally, I had to change the entire journal based on what I saw. I was like, you know what? I need to get it done. Being able to observe what was happening, what was going on with people, that helped me create a top quality product. Harvey not only presented itself for a wider market for my Detox to BS program, but it allowed me to really craft and create a journal that people could actually benefit from, because it's something that would help them go from stress to peace based on a situation that they were currently going through. Harvey really helped me be able to stop and listen to what the market was saying. I wasn't out there trying to rush, oh, I need to make money, because you know what? A week after Harvey, I got that email, my rent was due. So that didn't stop. But it helped me sit and really listen to the marketplace and create a journal, create a product that was going to be something that I know what it is. It's a solution to the problem that I saw people saying. So Harvey opened up many opportunities for the Truth Confidant, in the sense that it helped me not only create a product, but it also got me into the mindset of, I need to really understand what it is I'm going to do with this business. Now, teaching stressed individuals how to claim their peace using journaling. It's specific, but it's vague. It's specific because it lets you know who I'm working with, what I'm going to help you do, and how I'm going to help you do it. But it's still vague because stress or peace. So Harvey gave me the time, because like I said, I literally had to spend a week with my cousin because I couldn't get back in the city. They weren't allowing anyone back in the city. And finally, when they did, I had to hitch a ride with one of the members of the blog group, who's also up there in Dallas. So, just getting back to the city. Anyway, that in and of itself could be an episode, because we had a great conversation. But just, us coming back into the city and seeing the devastation was just overwhelming. Having that week at my cousin's to sit down and to listen and to see and to hear what people are saying and how they're feeling, it really helped me to understand that there's so much stress happening in the world, and the stress is leading to other things, that if I can create a tool that people can use to alleviate some of that stress, then I have done what all of my experiences have prepared me for, the karma of helping others not experience some of the stress or depressed moments that I've had, or if they're there, be able to say, here's a tool that can help you really get your mind into a more positive, into a more peaceful state. Now, let me explain the whole positive, peaceful state. Positive, peaceful state does not mean kumbaya, I love everyone. It means when you wake up, you feel good about who you are, and you feel good about the decisions that you make. It does not mean that you are trying to appease other people's whims or wishes. That's not what it means. Or at least that's how I am addressing it. But what I'm able to do is really help people understand, what does peace look like to you? Because if you can't define that, you will never get there. And if you never get there, you're always going to stay in a state of stress. That's the whole point of the journal, is to help you define what peace is. So that's what the Truth Confidant does. And that's what I learned after Harvey, is I need to define more of how I'm helping people. And the one thing I am focusing on with the Truth Confidant is helping people define what peace looks like to them. And this is how I am learning to do business after Harvey. Harvey was a lesson, and it gave me, or I would say it was a test, and it gave me many lessons to take. And from those lessons, I have been able to make some decisions that have been fruitful. For that, I'm grateful for it. But at the same time, I still know there are many, many people who are still in need, and who are going to be in need a year from now, because something like this is not just a quick fix. That is why I know the Truth Confidant is going to make it as a business. There are going to be many people, when the moment comes and they're ready to define what peace looks like for them, they're going to know that the Truth Confidant is there to help them define what peace looks like to them. That is the very first episode, this episode of A Toast to Truth, Season 6, Episode 1. Now it's time for the final toast. The final toast in today's episode is, we have to look at a natural disaster as something that is testing us. And we have to be prepared for whatever lesson that it gives us. No matter what that lesson is, we have to mentally and emotionally prepare ourselves for that lesson, because the lesson can either bring us down or it can lift us up. Our frame of mind is really going to determine how we see that lesson. This has been a Toast to Truth with Vernetta R. Franey. That's me. This was Season 6, Episode 1, talking about doing business after Harvey and the consequences encountered. Thank you so much for 5 great seasons of A Toast to Truth, and I can't wait to come back next week and share even more.